Okay, today we're going to work with equivalent fractions. Equivalent fractions are different fractions that have the same value. So just to remind ourselves, the top number is the numerator, the bottom number is the denominator. The numerator tells us how many parts are shaded, and the denominator tells us how many parts there are. So in this example, we have a rectangle that's cut in half. We have 1/2. The 1 tells us that 1 is shaded in. 1 of 2 parts are shaded. So now how else can we make an equivalent fraction that has the same amount of value as 1/2? Well, one thing we can do is we can draw a diagram. We can cut this diagram into 4 pieces, shade in 2, and it'll be equal to the 1/2. So we know that 2/4 is equivalent to 1/2. Another way to find equivalent fractions is to use multiplication. So let's take our 1/2 and what you want to do is you want to multiply both the numerator and the denominator by the same number. So let's try 2. So if we're multiplying the numerator by 2, then we also need to multiply the denominator by 2. So 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So 2/4 is equivalent, just like we found up there in the diagram. So you could do it by drawing a diagram, or you can use multiplication. And you don't have to use 2, you can use any number. So if we try 1/2, and let's say we want to multiply it by 4. The rule is just to remember that whatever you do to the numerator, you have to do to the denominator. So we're multiplying the numerator by 4. So therefore, we also need to multiply the denominator by 4. 1 times 4 is 4. 2 times 4 is 8. So we know that 1/2 is equivalent to 4/8. We can also use this method to tell us whether or not a fraction is equivalent to another fraction. So for example, if we have 5/8 and 3/4 and we want to see if they are equal or equivalent, we would ask ourselves, what do we have to do to 4 to get to 8? Well, we can multiply it by 2, and that'll give us 8. But what we do to the denominator, we have to do to the numerator. So since we multiplied this by 2, we also have to multiply this by 2. 3 times 2 is 6. Oh, but this is 5, so this is not equivalent. 3/4 is not equivalent to 5/8. But if we had a number like 3/4 and 9/12, we ask ourselves, what do we have to do to 3 to get to 9? Well, we can multiply it by 3. 3 times 3 will give us 9. And what we do to the numerator, we also have to do the denominator. So 4 times 3 gives us 12. So yes, 3/4 and 9/12 is equivalent.